Okay, we talked about this is going back to our strategy about talking to sellers, and we're walking through the house, but you're going to go in with pricing and comps to talk about three different price levels. And I highly recommend that when you go into a listing that you have kind of a picture. And I already talked to you about it. It's like, the house is done, great, updated, awesome, to average. It's fine, it's clean, nothing wrong, just not super nice. And then you got it needs work. Okay, so let me bring this. So let me share the screen. Does anyone have a property I want to talk to you about? And here's the thing, comping. And there's kind of misunderstanding about it. There's comps, which is, remember, comps are the past, meaning what has happened in the past. And usually that's good indicative of telling what's going to happen in the near future. But sometimes if the market is very fluid, they're not good indicators. For example, in this market, comps even 90, 120 days ago are probably higher than what you would actually get on the market today. Does that make sense? Because the market's shifting. So you get a lot of people try to treat it like a science. The comps say this and that's the value. Great agents understand the market currently affects the value of what it is. The comps provide reference points, but you got to understand the current market. And if you understand the current market, you can actually get a better picture of what you think you can sell the house for. And we're going to talk about that now. So,
hey, John, are you going to run a comp, like a sample comp right now?
Yeah, I am right now.
Would you do it for 808 Kegel Drive in West Sacramento?
808 Kegel Drive in Sacramento. Okay, I will do that.
West Sac.
What's that? Sorry. Can everyone see the screen? So, just want to make sure. I'm super. So I'm going to pull up the tax record first. So if you're going to do this, let's pull up the tax records. What was the address again? So
80808 Kegel, Kegle Drive in West Sacramento 95605.
I know Kegel. I call it Kegel all the time.
I know, but I try not to because it reminds me of when you're in birthing class.
Fair enough. Okay, so this is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, 1,040 square feet. Is that correct? Large lot.
Correct. So, yes.
And this is I know where this is. Okay, so now that we got the stats for the house, so the first thing you're gonna do is the stats. And if you're an agent and you're calling, just so you know, check the owner's names. Sometimes the person you're talking to is not the actual person on title, or there's multiple people on title. You need to make sure that all the people that are on title are there. Sometimes they're like talking on behalf of the owner. So just be careful of that because they're the ones that they can't actually sign. So, and if you look at tax records, it will show you assessed value. It's not the assessed value. It'll show you the school districts. But the best part is they'll show you previous sales dates. So was this a flip?
Yes.
Okay. It's sold. They bought it for $310 in January of this year. So if I got this listing, I'd be like, oh, it's a flip, right? So
yep.
Great. So likely because it's so quick. So okay, now I'm gonna go back to here. So we're gonna go to search, and typically some of you like to go to maps. I don't like to go to map initially. I'll go to map eventually. I like to pull a radius just to see what I can get. So we got 808 Kegel, right?
Yes.
So now we know this is likely a flip. So on this one, and they bought it for 300, I think, right? I forget. So, and when I usually pull a radius. I just try quarter mile radius. You can go a lot wider. Don't go back farther. Go wider if you want comp. If you're short on comps. And I pull everything because I want to see everything. And I don't even put restrictions. I don't put square footage restrictions. I just want to see what's out there. And so if I'm going to hit search, and I want to order my status here. I have now properties. I have 4 active, I don't know, 7 or 8 closed, 1 pending. So now we got a pretty good picture.
This house has brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom, brand new HVAC, refinished hardwood floors. Like they went in and did everything. They did new electrical panel, new water heater, plumbing, all of it.
Okay, excellent. So if you look, this is a good amount of comps. This is a good amount of comps. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, now one thing you can do is you can click it and then you can hit map and that will take it to the heat map here so you can see this. One thing I like to see on map is you want to see that you are not exceeding neighborhood lines. That's a very important thing. So for example, this is West Sac. This area Lighthouse is a whole different neighborhood. This is Broader Bright area. And then if you got down here, it's different comps. So you want to make sure you're staying within the same neighborhood. That is important for comping reasons, because in Sacramento, we often have very different pricing for neighborhoods right next to each other. So please be careful about that. So, okay. So here's the it closed, 310, 808 Kegel. So we have that on there, which shows that they closed it in January, right? 3-1, 1040. So I'm going to go back to my list here on grid. And we have, and what I want to do is I go through each of them because they each provide a picture. Now here's the biggest thing. Actives, and I know all of you want to go to comps, but if you want to look at what the market is doing, not what the comps say, but what the market is actually doing, you look at actives and pendings. They tell you what's actually happening in the market right now. So I have this one, 1025 Hobson. It is 3-2-1340. And ours is, where's the 310? 311. So this is 1.5, 1040. So this one's bigger. And this one's been on the market for 55 days. It did it at 380 and it's not selling. So flat roof, where's the pictures? I usually go to pictures. So this looks like a flip home, pretty much. Yeah, you can tell because they put a brand new patio over it. So this is a flip home. So this is comparable, but bigger. And this is selling at 380, but 1-car garage, flat roof, probably not as appealing as the other house. So that's a marker for us. So, and they dropped it to 380. So let's see. Let's see history. They started at 399, and at day 50 they dropped it to 380. So you can see that's a decent marker because it's a flip. So it meets our quality standards. At the same time, it's probably not as good looking as ours 3-2-1340. It is bigger, 1-car garage. So we have to sort of take that into consideration. So we have, this is really big. So here's a good one. Here's 804 Kegel. So this is right next to it. 804 Kegel, which is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1100, which is about the same. This is not a flip. Maybe it is a flip.
It's not a flip. It was rented. It was a rental for many years, and the seller went in and just fixed some
Rehabbed it.
things
Yeah,
up.
yeah, fix it up. Yeah.
But it's
It looks pretty
pretty.
nice.
She's pretty basic.
Yeah, basic. Yeah, basic.
Yeah.
Not high end. So this would be it's clean but average. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But pretty nice, right? And
Yes.
and they are. Sorry, let me go back. So that is 435, 10 days on 3-1134. That seems pretty out of comp range. So even though it's only 10 days on market, I think it's a little high, but we'll see. So based on the comps, we'll look at this. So here's 3-2-1153, another one, 420. This has a 1-car garage. This looks interesting. 3-2-1153. So you see how I'm taking the time to go through these homes. So this looks clean, pretty basic, but pretty clean. 420, and that's been 17. That's a 3-2-1100. That's been 17 days on market, no offers. So, okay, so we got the actives. Those are sitting there. Now, let's look at this pending. We got one pending. This is 349. This is a 1053. This pending. And this pending shows 311, 1053, which is very close to ours. And this looks like a fixer. So let's see. Not a fixer, it has floors. kind of busy. Maybe a little bit, you could see like so. So I'd say this is like a little below average based on the pictures, and that's was 25 days in market at 350, and we don't know where it's standing. That's where it went pending, but I want you to note that look. So this is kind of like a fixer status 350 for a comparable property. That's probably the and we know they bought theirs at 310, 311,040. So the good news is the I would notice something that the buyer got it at the owner got the property at 310, and this one's at 350, probably a little bit below market. I mean, below average on quality. So it looks like the owner got a good deal on the price. So I would say commend the buyer or the owner because he got like a good deal on property because here's a fixer kind of going at 350, so to speak, right? So, okay, let's look at the comps. This is a probate listing. I do not like, oh, that's why it was a probate. Probates, as you see, is low. These are what we call less than arm's length transactions. So what you don't want is to use comps where there's not an arm's length transaction. So that means there's no stress on the seller to sell, or there's no relationship between the buyer and the seller. In this case, it's a probate listing, so we would not, and obviously it's the house we're looking at, so we would, but normally would not use that as comp. Here's another one, real estate owned. Real estate owned means it's a bank owned property. I would not use that comp because it is a bank seller. They're gonna have different things they're gonna consider when they sell the home. So let's look at these other homes. And we got one here. So we're looking at this. Ours is what is ours? 1,000. Oh, here we go. It is 1,040. So we have a 1,832 here, 436. Woo, that's a good price. Let's see what's wrong with this. So they listed at 445, but it closed at 436. So they were on the market for 26 days before this happened. And let's see this house. This house was a flip, pretty much. Pretty nice countertops. So yeah, look at that backsplash. So this is an example of a flip. It had it has a little sunroom built in that they sort of built out. Permitted or not permitted, we don't know. It says 1,008, but it probably does not. I know these houses, so this house probably this one, even though it includes a sunroom, is probably not included in the square footage of the house. So, and this is a three full 2-bathroom house. So good for them. 1-car garage, and that sold at 436, 26 days on market, but they were pricing higher. So let's look at the history of this one. This is a good decent comp. So they listed at 455. 14 days in, they had nothing. They went to 445.9. They pending, and then closed at 436. So they chased the market a little bit, but because the house was super nice, they were able to get a buyer in, but they had to come off about $20,000 off their original list price to close the home. So this tells me this is a decent comp. It is a house that is very similar to ours, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It does have a half bath more than we do, about the same size lot. It is a flip. It closed in June, 26 days on market. They chased the market a little bit at 455 and went to 436. Okay, that gives us a good market. Let's try these other ones. We got a 420 here at Fairway Drive. Let's try this one. So Fairway Drive, this looks pretty cute. This is a 2-1. Oh, I don't like that. Let's not skip the 2-1. Great. This is a 3-2. This is weird. We have 420 Julian, but it's a 2 possible 3. Oh, they converted the garage, so no garage. So that's a hard one to comp. That even went at 4. This price was 405 and went to 420. So that's a decent comp to show you. It's not a decent comp because the house is a little bit weird, a little bigger square footage, but that's usually because they converted the garage into square footage into the house. So interesting. Let's look at the pictures on this. Also staged clearly. So cute. Looks like a flip. Not bad. Looks like IKEA cabinets. So this is pretty nice. Looks like a flip. They were 22 days mark. So let's look at this. So they originally started at 405. contingent show pending, and they closed at 420. So this is good. So now we see opposite end. They priced it to be competitive and move fast. They were able to get in contract within 6 days, and they got a higher price at 420. Does that make sense? So, actually, let me go get back. I'm going to property. I forgot to look at. Now, these things will tell you also if you look on here if there is what do you call it?
Sessions.
Concessions. Thank you. Who said that? Thank you. So closing cost concession on this one for 5,000. So really, they had a 415 offer, right? Makes sense. And then we even have this 2-1 that closed that's super nice as well, beautifully updated, and that went for 422. But that had a more traditional feel. So if you look at these, this is bigger.
Oh, he flipped over.
What? So you see this one, it looks nice, but even this one got the same price, even though it's smaller, and it's like because it has a garage, it has a new driveway, it doesn't make sense. So garages do add value. Houses without garages get diminished values. So okay. And then we had this one, 436, and this is bigger. So now we're getting a good picture of where this house should be. So based on what we're looking at now and what we've talked about, and now we went through these comps, what do you guys think the house is worth as a flip? And here's the house stats if you want house stats over here. 331 1040, and it's fully updated according to Michelle West. So. Anyone? No opinion?
I have one, but I don't want to give it because it's mine. So I'm just curious.
420.
Oh, what's that? 420? We got Tawana said 420. Anyone else agree? Disagree? No one? Okay.
420. I
420.
think.
Okay. Yes. And then if you see this other one, yeah. And I bet this, hold on, I bet this 436. Maybe they had concessions. Let's see. So. No concessions on the 36. So, yeah. So on this one, I would recommend, just because of where the pricing is, I would recommend a 420 price, and they're likely going to get multiple offers with that. But if they wanted to press the price, I might be willing to go up to 425 with it, but that's where I probably cut it off to try and make sure I got action for it. I think anything above that's going to be chasing the market, in this opinion.
My gut, John, was going to be 414, 350. I always add 350 at the end.
I would like 415. That would for sure get us action probably within the first 10 days. Right?
Okay, great.
So I would say I would push for 415, go to 425 if they really want to press it. I'm just saying if we do 425, we're probably sitting on the market for 30 days, chasing an offer a little bit. I wouldn't go higher than that, right? So
all right, great. Thank you very much for doing that.
If I was doing this property and it was a fixer, we have the 310 this, and then we have the 340 pending. I probably, and say you didn't know it wasn't a flip, I would look at this and say, oh, I would something in between 310 and 349, depending on the condition of the home, would be 349 is like fixer, but okay. 310 is probably a major fixer. Does that make sense? So somewhere between 310 and 349 is the fixer status of the pricing, depending on how bad it is, right? And then we see other comps here, 360, 395. So likely we're in the upper threes if we're just average, right? And then you see if we're super nice, we're at the 420 range. Does everyone see that?
Yep.
So I want you guys to understand, if I didn't know it was a flip, I'm just going into the house and we don't know the condition, and I was looking at the comps, I would say, okay, if it's fixer, it's going to be 350 or less, depending on how bad it is, right? Does that make sense? Just, say it's just dated, super dated back in, still stuck in the 80s or 60s or something. That's a fixer, but it's functional, probably 350. If it's broken in places, bathrooms out, whatever, roof issues, then I'm dropping the price all the way down to 310. I'm pushing it down. Now, I'm in the middle somewhere. So if it's clean, not updated, but regular oak cabinets, maybe it's updated 80s, but well maintained, clean looking, I'm probably thinking 385, 390. If it's flip status, I'm thinking 420. Does that make sense? Anyone see that? So
I love what you said about the neighborhoods too, because especially here, you got one side of West Sacramento that's a whole different deal than just a few blocks away.
yeah, and actually, here's Broderick Wright, which I know this neighborhood well.
Yeah.
And right here, I actually lived in this neighborhood, and I sold my house on the park. This is a gated community, by the way. And I sold my house on the park for $785. So you can see where something's at 385, 390, and right across the way there's 785. and these houses are now going for like $1 million in there, right? So you have to be very careful about your neighborhoods. That's very important. If you go to a seller and you're pulling comps outside the neighborhood that are dragging the value down or dragging the value too high, the owner's going to know it, and they're going to discount you. Right? You lost. Remember our whole thing where we're talking confidence about comps. If you pull in bad comps and they know it, your whole presentation goes out the door. They won't trust anything you say because they don't feel like you've done your due diligence. So on top of having this strong presentation for comps, you gotta have great comps. You gotta understand the market. And you see, a lot of you are going into tax records and just picking comparables. You see how I spent time? I went and looked at the properties. I got a sense of the neighborhood. I got a sense of the properties. I guarantee you, if you're going to get challenged on the comps, you've got to know the properties. I looked at the property. I know what's pending. I know the condition. You got to know the comps because that way you're going to present much better with more confidence. Questions? Do you see how this neighborhood naturally told us 3 levels? Oh, this is a very dead group right now. So, okay. Does anyone have another address? I want to do this with another one, just so you guys get the point of it. Who has another address? Anyone? No.
How about 533 39th Street in East Sacramento, 95816?
Ooh, East Sacramento. 539?
533.
533. What street? 59th?
39th.
39th. What's the zip?
95816.
Okay. Single family. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here, let me pull up the tax record so I can see. Oh, got it. 539. Is that right?
533 39th.
533.
I think it's Edward somebody who owns it.
There we are. Just pulling that. Okay, we got Edward Vascalones.
Yes.
No, Vasconcelos. Vasconcelos, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2.5 bath, sorry. 2188 square feet. Ooh, that's pretty good. Good lot size too. Pretty set. 59th then, we're getting toward the edge. So here is comps. I just pulled the radius, and you can see they're wildly different from 465 to 1.3 million. And this is going to be important to understand neighborhoods within neighborhoods, neighborhoods within neighborhoods. So let me pull up, oops, sorry. Let me pull up a map so you guys can see. So you can see here we are, and here's the comps. Now you can see we're all here. Anyway, sorry. And here's houses near, and then we can see this is 930,000. We have here 796,000. $949,000. This is pending at 599. So as you see, you get farther out. So there's a part in actually it's on this side. There's a part of the neighborhood called the Fabulous 40s. It's really between J Street and Folsom over here in the 40s-ish, lower 40s area. But you can see it even translates. The 40s tend to be the best part of East Sac. So this is even understanding areas within neighborhoods of East Sac. East Sacramento is actually, hold on, is all this. But within East Sac, there are better areas than others. So you need to understand even nuances within neighborhoods. So that's important if you want on this comp. So we have a house that is 3.2 and a half, 2188. Wow, that's going to be pretty. That's pretty good. So actually, and I don't know where this one is. So let's do.
It's on 39th between H and McKinley.
39th between H and McKinley. Okay, so we're pretty good. Pretty good. So we are 39th right here between H and McKinley. So we're kind of on the edge.
Now, the downside to this street is it's a thoroughfare, right? People come in from McKinley and they use 39th. There's a light right there. So it's kind of a busy street.
Yeah, right at the intersection there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this. We have, let's look at the comps. 2188. Ooh, okay, so we have a couple close here. Let me put the stats here. So we have only one active. And in this one, I might go wider just to see what's happening, with things, but let's stick here for now. So, sorry, let me do status. Okay, so we have two active right now, 2,400, 1,700 square feet. So that's not bad. One at 949, one at 930, 54 days, 163 days on market. So these are overpriced, if you want to say it so. Come on. My internet's, or maybe that's, there we go. So this looks like, man, whoever did that yard sucked. Okay, so it looks like I flipped. Yeah. So someone tried to flip this. They unfortunately did a horrible job on the yard because they probably cheaped out. So, anyway, so then we have this one, which is this one looks nicer. Is it a flip? Yes, it looks like a flip. It is staged or at least been rehabbed. Looks like it has a ADU maybe, or is that the back? Like a little she shed. In the house, that is at 949 sitting there. So we can see the top end sitting there. And then we have one pending, this 165142 offer as this is a trust sale. And this is, let's see, dated. So this is clean, but you can tell a little not super nice, clean, a little bit smaller, and that's pending at 600 after 21 days, 25 days. So that's good. That's probably a mega floor because ours is a lot bigger. So it's not even going to be close to 599, but you at least know we're probably in the 600, 700 range for a floor on this just because of that. And then we can see one here. Here's a 796. See, this one's 1400, and this looks nice. Yeah, that's nice. Clean, updated, although I don't know about the blue, but that's okay. That went 796 in 6 days. So that's good. So we know we're above 800,000 likely on this house because it is still 1,400. But please note, the bigger the square footage. If you overbuild the neighborhood, it doesn't mean the per square foot light translates higher. It actually it pushes the value back down. We can talk about why, but let's talk about, okay, so we have a couple closes here. We have one on 38th, so one street farther down, 2377. This is a 3.2. This one went those for 1.3. Nice. Large lot, 1.3. Let's see this thing. Nice, cute East Sacramento home. This one is fully updated and beautiful. Nice yard. Even has a garage side room on it. So this is super nice. And this went 6 days on market, 1.375 sold. So this would be something that would be, even though R42, it's about the same square footage, lot size. That would be, this would be a top end for me. So if I was looking at this comp, I would say, okay, no matter, and this is on 38th, 721 38th. So let's look at our map. 721 38. So it's right there, close to H Street. So it's one street over. So it's a pretty local comp, like Michelle said, it's not on the busiest street going through. So 39th is a little bit busier. But at the top end, I would say we're probably looking at something around 1.375 for a top end comp. So that if I walked in the house and it was stunning, I would probably be pushing something about 1.375 as a recommendation for the house. Depending on the look and feel and the traffic, I might adjust it a little bit, but you're looking at a pretty good comp right there. So let's look at this other 2,000 square foot. This is 933 on Santa Ynez. Got this one. Nice house. 5 days on market, 989 list price, 993 finish price. This house is awesome. Deck to the nines, pretty clean, original wood floors, refinished, nice yard, everything. So we got this one, and this one is 993, a little bit smaller. So that's why 370 square feet smaller, and so you see that pushing down around 993. And we have this one at San Miguel 1.325. So this is 3.4, 2.5, 2,400 square feet, 5,000 lots. So tighter lot, but we'll see this one. Nice, pretty clean, very austere. Decent yard, but not as big as the other ones. And 2 stories. So this one's a 2-story house. Well, actually, the other's a 2-story too, but so we see that, and that came in at 1.335. So, and ours is, what is ours again? Ours is
Single story.
2188 single story. So I like that actually. That actually I think will help value actually. So we have 950 on 38th Street. 950. So this is a skinny lot. One lot. So you see the others on 2, 4, 3, 2200. Okay, not true. It's okay. Yeah, little skinny lot. So, do they show the yard? Backyard. Yeah, see the backyard's really tight. So this would be a floor comp for me. So assuming the house is nice, 950. If I was looking at this.
This house is nice, but the downside is that they installed like pergo flooring 10 years ago.
Who told them to do that?
I know.
Okay. Here's
It does have an updated kitchen though.
Here's a one point. One. So this one's dated and went 1.1, but I'll send it as 1,500, 6 days on market, but cute. Okay. Okay. So right now we're seeing that's a decent comp. So we're seeing 1,500, 1.1. So if your house is 20 that much, it's got to be above 1.1. If it's not totally done right, it's got to be less than 1.375. So I would use a floor of 1.1. Well,
Okay.
even higher than that. 1.
I was gonna say 1.175.
Yeah, 1.175. 1. Actually, I say 1.2, right? To 1.375, depending on the condition of the home. If it's total fixer, I would probably be in the 9s. Make sense?
No, it's not.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if I didn't know what it looked like and I was going in, I would say my floor total fixer in the 9s. I would say middle is 1.1-ish to 1.2-ish. Super done is 1.3, 1.375. Does it make sense?
Yep.
So you see how I just look at the comps. The neighborhood and the comps will tell you where the bands are for fixer, average, up. And you just got to look and just get a feel for the comps. This is the artistic side. If there's the science is like, look at the comps. What does it say? Per square foot, all that. The art side, and this is where, as an agent, if you want to be savvy, this is where you can live, right? You can live in the art side because the comps are the reference. But when you look at the house and you get a feel, you got to have a feel of what you can sell it for. Now you see the 1.375 and you saw the 1.335. You know what the house has to look like to pull that number. You know what it does. And then you see an average one at 1.1. You see what it needs to look like. You see what that looks like, and that's pulling 1.1, although it's smaller. So maybe I can get to 1.2 with that, right? And then I see fixers and dated at 900-ish one. So you can see how bad it has to look to get to 900. And when you walk in that house, you're going to be able to, in your mind, see the pricing. The biggest thing that agents tend to do is overprice the home. That means you think the amenities are better than they are. So Michelle, I like your statement. You said there's prego floors. When you're talking luxury at this level, the quality of the finishes matter as well as the look and feel, not just the quality. The quality of the finishings matter as much.
And
as
this one was built much more recently. It was built in the 70s instead of the 40s or 50s or whatever. So it didn't have, the original character in the beginning too, which is what you normally want in East Sacramento.
If I didn't know that, I mean, I probably just street view of it. But if I didn't know that, if it looks out of place, it doesn't have the character, I would automatically discount a pretty good, decent. I mean, I probably pull 100,000 off just for lack of character, right?
Okay.
Of the house. If I was walking into the house,
I'm going to start doing that with people too. I'm going to start discounting them for lack of character.
But I want you to understand, see how this is, you really have to put your buyer hat on, right? And look at it and say, if I was going to walk up to this house and I see all these other homes have a nice character and historical nature to them, and then this is obviously built differently and newer and looks like a modern home, buyers are going to discount the price on that house. Now they may still want it because they definitely want the location, right? And they'll probably say, like, I can do some things to like make it look a little nicer and have more character, but they're going to discount it because of that, right? And they're probably going to bump it down a notch. So if I thought it was 1.2, I'm probably bumping it out to 1.1, right? If it was 1.375 is to the nines, I'm probably
I don't want to make any noise or
Yeah.
So that's how I would look at the pricing. Any ahas, or I want to get this point across, is you have to do your homework. And if you actually look at the comps, like we just went through the actives, the pendings, the solds, and we looked at them, looked at the comps and compared them, you will start getting a sense of bands of pricing. And that's going to be very important for you when you walk in the door. You're determining what band you're in. And then you even notice there's room within the band, right? So when you walk into the band, like Michelle was talking about, if it was, wow, this house looks different and more modern than the rest of the homes, lower in the band, right? And then I would say, oh, it's pergo floors, not nice wood floors or whatever you want to put in there. And then I would say, okay, lower in the band. Does it make sense? So I start pushing things down based on how I would view the home. Does that make sense for everyone? Oh, I want a little acknowledgement here.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And you've affirmed a couple of things for me. So thanks I'm going to tell everybody you said I was right.
You're right, Michelle. Congratulations. But Ara, Stephen, Murad, Deruba, does that make sense? If you can get those ideas about comps done, then you're going to go in with a lot more power. And that's going to give you the confidence to do the presentation I talked about at a high level, right? Mm-hmm. When you feel better about the comps walking in, now you're like, I know the price. I know where this house needs to sell. Then you're going to do your presentation with a lot more conviction. And that's important to getting your pricing done correctly, right? And getting them to agree to the price. We good?
Yeah, okay. Good.
Tomorrow, I didn't get to finish this. So I'm going to present again. I'm going to go through a whole presentation, and someone can role play with me. I'm going to go from presenting the comps to I'm presenting this marketing through the comps to showing you how I present the net number to close to get them to sign. Okay, we're going to run through all that in a role play so you can kind of see it all together, and that's going to be sort of hopefully something you can build a listing presentation around for you to get not only get it closed but also get it to a price that you hope you can get to actually sell the home. Right. So, all right.
Okay. Hey, John, are you
Go ahead.
storing these recordings on the shared drive somewhere where we can
Yeah,
grab
they are getting recorded. I talked to Liz. They are on just sitting in the drive. So what I am going to do is actually I'm going to have them posted to our YouTube channel. So when they're posted, we'll send you the link so that you can actually do that. And then I'm going to for sure do the recording. I want to do a full role play. I'm going to actually just cut that one just to the role play. So that way I can put that out there as here's a listing presentation for you guys, just like practice this, right? So that way you can get good at doing the comps, doing those things as well. So, okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So
Thanks, John.
look for those comps.